Blog Talk Radio.
There is a mystery lurking the forested areas of the world. Many have seen something, but what is it? Are they seeing known animals? They claim they walk upright, like a human. There are so many eyewitnesses. Can they all be wrong? Is someone just playing a trick on people? Or is it possible a large bipedal being could exist in the forests of the world? You have a decision to make. Do you believe it exists? These are the topics we discuss on Sasquatch Watch Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is February 12th, 2013. Can you believe it? We're getting closer and closer to spring. I can't wait. I'm tired of the cold weather already. Tired of the rain, tired of the... I know people up in the north is tired of the snow. Good Lord, y'all got a few feet up that way. Anyway, welcome everybody to another show. We got a wonderful guest that we're going to bring on here in a few minutes. But before we get to that, since it's coming up this weekend, I want to get to a little bit of conference news on a conference that's coming up this coming weekend. So we'll get right to that. So hold on just a second and we'll get to that. All right, folks, if you guys are close to West Virginia, there's a nice seminar coming up. It's the Cabela's Strange, Rare, and Unusual Sighting Seminar. It's being held this coming weekend, February 15, 16, and 17. It's going to be at the Cabela's Outdoor Outfitters, the one located on One Cabela Drive in Triadelphia, West Virginia. If you get an opportunity to go up there, would love to meet you. I'm going to be there, along with Dr. Jeff Meldrum will be there, Eric Altman from the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, David Drageson also from the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, as well as Stan Gordon. So, folks, if you get an opportunity to get up that way, we would certainly love to meet each and every one of you. So, again, that's coming up this weekend, February 15, 16, and 17. We will be there all 3 days. The event on the 15th is a Friday. It's sort of like a meet and greet. It starts at 6 p.m. And then the activities on Saturday and Sunday start at 10 a.m. and probably will go to about 5 p.m. So we hope to be able to see everybody there. It would be nice. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest tonight. Our guest is, her name is Norma. She goes by Girlie Bigfooter on Facebook. I'm sure a lot of you have her as a friend. So welcome to the show, Norma.
Hey there.
It's nice to have you on.
Yeah, nice to be on.
I understand you've been a little busy here lately, but before we get into that, how about kind of introducing yourself, kind of get everybody to know, where you're from and what you do.
Well, I'm from the Massachusetts area, and I do pretty much what everybody on here does. I'm out researching Bigfoot quite a lot, actually.
I understand that's a little bit of a thing that you really, really enjoy.
Oh yeah. I get antsy when I can't get out in the woods and, do things out there, especially when it's a while happening. I can't right now get out there because I'm a little under the weather, but I'm hoping soon.
Yeah, it's hard to be stuffed up in the home and not being able to get out, and especially if you're sick and it's just. I know there was one year, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, I came down with the flu, and well, it wasn't really the flu, it was more of a really terrible sinus infection, and I tell you, I went out one night with the guys and it was like 13 degrees.
Yeah.
And I couldn't breathe in the first place. So you're out there in the cold, all wrapped up, freezing to death, probably more than normal. You got snot run out of your nose.
Oh, yes, that's always great.
But I paid for that because I didn't get over it for like the next 2 months.
Yeah, I did the same thing in November. I was out. I had just started coming down with some kind of a cold, and I was out and doing a night op, and that one lasted 6 weeks. So it wasn't fun.
No, it's not. A creature seeker wants to know how much snow you got.
Let's see. In my area, we got 2 feet.
Yep. Sounds like
we're buried.
Yep. Sounds like the same as creature seeker. I think he got about the same amount. He said he stepped out his door and it was up to his neck.
It was.
Did you catch that?
That's pretty high. I went out at about, I think it was 3:30 in the morning, and I was amazed to see how much snow was out there.
Yeah, it's. I saw some of the photos and videos of y'all's area, and I tell you what, it was. You couldn't see the cars. I mean, the snow was piled around the cars.
Yeah, our cars were pretty buried. One of them, totally, all you could see were the side mirrors, and just a little piece of the side mirror. So, I didn't know how we were going to get out of that one.
Yeah, it could be tough. All right, well, I'm going to start with a few questions. I'm sure you've been asked these questions before. They're all nice and easy, nothing to worry about.
Sure.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about how you got started in this.
Well, it was pretty much watching, Bigfoot-related shows, mostly, In Search of, and the show. Well, I say older, but they aren't really. It was about 2005 is when I really started to pay more attention and get into it, and then after that, just looking on the internet for, places or things like BFRO and Oregon, the Oregon Bigfoot, and websites like that where I could just kind of look at the sightings and the stories and things like that, and then finding a few in my area that I could get involved in that were closer than Oregon. Mm-hmm. We're on one end, they're on the other.
That's right.
So people who were like-minded and who could get out, and we can kind of get out together. So I did that and started going really, really getting into it and going out in 2008, actually. Joined, my first group and then started going out. And the funny thing is, as I remember, talking to my husband and reading these reports and things like that and looking into searching the area and finding out where the reports were in my area, not necessarily specifically talking to any of the the witnesses from the reports, but learning the area and where the reports were coming from. And I remember telling him, "Oh, hey, this is like here. This is really close. Let's go and check it out."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my first time actually doing that, driving to this location and getting like nervous as I'm getting closer, to actually going to a location where, reports were coming out of. And I kind of worked myself up and said, I can't even do this.
Yeah.
It's like as if I'm, it was almost like, I'm going to be going out here and I'm going to be seeing a Squatch,
Right.
What am I going to do then, And little did I know at that point that the chances of actually that happening were, slim to none. So I got worked up, for nothing. But, as time went on, you learn more, you read more, you talk to more people, you do things, and then, before you know it, you are just right in the thick of it. And you're not even thinking about it anymore.
Right.
You just go out there and you're hoping at this point to see a Bigfoot.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Kind of like you said, you start watching the programs and things on TV, and you're like, oh man, I can just go out to the woods today and go see one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't realize until after you really start doing this that that's just not going to happen.
It's not that easy. That's for
It's
sure.
not that easy. You can be out in the woods hiking, for quite a long time. And however, I have had things happen to me short of seeing a Bigfoot. So.
Well, very good. Well, and we'll get into that. The first, we do have a question from Henry May. His question is, have you ever found tracks, and if you have, what type of material do you use to cast them?
I have found tracks that were in a very muddy area. One of them I did cast, and it didn't come out very well. I used plaster of Paris, which was basically simple stuff that you can just get at a hardware store or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was not necessarily the casting material, but it was the area that I was casting in. And these prints were in this really mucky, muddy area.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've ever stepped in mud, you step in it, especially when it's really, gooey.
Yeah.
And wet. You stick your foot in there, and then you go to pull your foot out, and the mud just suctions, your foot.
Right.
Kind of distorts, the print. So it was sort of like that. However, it wasn't quite as bad. I had someone come out with us, and he actually got stuck in the mud, and we had to pull him out. Both of his shoes came out, and we're in the mud about 2 feet.
Yeah,
all right, maybe not 2 feet, but about it was a good 8 inches anyway.
Yeah.
And he was in his stocking feet after that. So, that was kind of funny. But I was I was like, don't go in there, you're gonna get stuck. But he went in there anyway. But at any rate, it was that kind of a muddy, messy situation. And that was one. The other one was in the very same location, in this little stream bed. Again, very muddy, but not quite as muddy. One of the prints was on one side of this little stream, and so the heel, middle of the foot, and then the front of the foot kind of went into like the water. It was kind of really watery. So you could see like the heel and stuff in the middle of the foot, but that was basically it. And so you couldn't see toes. And then it stepped over, and you could see the left foot, again, the heel and whatever. I didn't end up casting that one. I did do, size comparison and things like that. Mm-hmm. But, again, it's, unless you get a really good print, undeniable, something like that is kind of, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
It sure looked like it could very well be, because the heel was probably about 5-6 inches. It was they were pretty good size prints, the two.
Yeah.
And then I got another one this was probably in March of last year, on a pretty, how our winter was last year was pretty mild. It was kind of cold, and then it would get mild, and off and on like that. And we found one print crossing a trail, and it was a smaller print. I think it was about 14 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like maybe 4 inches width, and it was too shallow to cast. But it was definitely a print. It was definitely, you could see toes and things like that, and it was pretty interesting. It was going into an area where there were boulders,
Mm-hmm.
really big. And this area was a really cool area. You could almost herd something in there and hide in there, either in or on top, or do sort of like a ambush type of thing.
Right.
So those are the prints that I have seen and found, and
Okay.
I'm waiting for a really, really good one.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
I've got the same thing. I've got a few prints that I've casted, and none of them have been in the perfect conditions. And I'm just waiting for that one that's just a perfect impression with dermals, but I know the likelihoods of that happening is pretty slim to none in Virginia.
Yeah. Well, you get, like I said, you get lucky. I mean, I hear a lot of stuff. I have a lot of recordings. Like I said, have had things happen to us while we're out in the field. I had an expedition last Labor Day that went really very well, and we had a lot of activity, and it. I have some recordings, but we had a lot of activity that weekend. We were there from Friday to Monday. Mm-hmm. And it was quite interesting.
Yeah, that's and you got those recordings, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay, well, we might get into those here in just a few minutes, because I'd like to hear those, or at least we'll give it a try anyway.
Yeah.
Now, you did say that you haven't had a sighting yet, correct?
I haven't had a sighting, not
okay.
yet. I've interviewed people who have had sightings. Goes along with, researching, but no, I haven't had a visual sighting yet.
Okay, and here's my next question. We see a lot of folks putting up photos and things on the internet. What do you think it's going to take to bring proof that this creature exists?
Well, that's a loaded question. I think either a captured or a dead Bigfoot is the thing that's going to prove that they exist. I'm not in any way approving killing a Bigfoot. I am in the no-kill camp.
Yeah.
So that would be upsetting
yeah.
to me. And I am also not for keeping one in captivity.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's going to take, to tell you the truth, because there are pictures and videos and eyewitness accounts, and everything that's out there is just not enough.
Mm-mm.
If you or I get something, that's all we have. We have something, and yes, it's great and it's exciting, and we show it to, our friends, our family, other, researchers and things like that. But does it prove that, what we have is good enough evidence?
Yeah.
No. And
yeah,
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't go for any of those things. I mean, I would not. I remember telling someone that one of the particular areas that I research, I told them I would camp out there 24/7 to keep people away if they are just going to go up there and harass, any Bigfoot that might be up there.
Right. So do you have some private property that you're able to investigate on?
Only if I'm investigating a sighting.
Okay.
Other than myself, no, it's not private property, but it is public property.
Okay. Now everybody has one, so I'm going to ask you, and I know it's hard to choose just one, but maybe the first one that comes to mind. What is your favorite sighting or encounter report?
Report?
Yeah, in other words,
that I've investigated?
No, just as a whole. For example, everybody has, like, one of my favorite ones is the story down in Texas of the hog. I'm sure you've heard that one, where a hunter actually witnessed a Bigfoot hunting wild hogs and actually took the thing out, picked it up, and carried it off. That's one of my favorite sighting reports.
Geez, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite is. I mean, I love reading them all. I don't know honestly, I don't know what my favorite would be, because I've heard so many, and I've investigated some, and I've investigated just it'll be a year, February 27th. A minister and his son went out hiking, and in a place where I would have bet my house there wouldn't be a Bigfoot, and they saw a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And that was pretty exciting, and it wasn't too terribly far from me and from where I live, so that was even more exciting. So if I had to pick something, it would probably be that. Nobody else knows about it, but there are so many out there. I really don't know.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard.
It is. I don't know what I would. Yeah, which my favorite would be.
Now, have you had any of those witnesses where you've talked to them, and as they're telling you their story or what they saw, that you actually see physical reactions from them, like the hair or getting goosebumps as they're telling you the story? Have you ever had a witness like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the minister and his son. Actually, I went out with them, or when I first, interviewed him on the phone to get together to, go out in this area, he wouldn't go out with us. So we went out on our own. I finally got him to come out with us and show us exactly where the location was, and just having him talk about it, and and I asked him probably 2 or 3 times to recount the story again, and I got the same exact story and the same exact, body language and things like that, which was, kind of confirmed a lot to me, and plus a 7-year-old son was there, and I don't know how well kids, but kids can't lie for, very long.
No.
So keep it a secret. Kids keep it a secret is a hard thing. So, but it was. I watch when I talk to people. I watch their body language. I watch their expressions. I watch listen for the excitement in their voice, and and all of that when I'm listening to their story. So
yeah,
that's what you got to do. I mean, unfortunately, people do make things up. So.
Oh yeah. It does. It happens.
Yeah.
Looks like we've got our first caller. So let me see who we got on the line. Somebody from the 540 area code. You're on the air.
Yes. Hi. My name is Mary, and I'm a recent convert, I guess you might call me. And I live in Virginia as well, Billy.
Okay.
And I have contacted you, with the Sasquatch Watch and whatnot. Anyway, it was a comment. I was listening to you because I couldn't hear on my Blog Talk on the phone.
Yeah.
So I just had a comment to make, or a question, really.
Okay.
When you were asking Bigfoot girl, is that what you're, Girlie Bigfoot?
Girlie Bigfooter, yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
About what was it going to take to prove that I call them people, the forest people, exist. Personally, I believe that there doesn't need to be any proof. There's so much proof with the thousands, of people that have witnessed them, and tracks and fur or hair or what have you, that, who are we trying to prove that they exist to? If it's science, if they don't want to think about it in terms of an actual living creature, then science is losing.
Well, I kind of agree with you, Mary, in the sense that science. We've probably over the years people have produced enough proof, and I've heard this stated many times, on the internet, Facebook, even in discussions with other researchers. There's enough evidence as far as physical evidence with prints and eyewitness accounts. If this was taken to the court of law, evidence-wise, it would be proven.
Right, and that's what more proof do we need? Because of a group, the media, Joe Blow down the street doesn't believe in it or doesn't think that they exist. Why would we need to go out of our way to, show them a finger or, a corpse? It's just
right.
it's too bizarre to me. That, hasn't man done enough damage to man and other creatures on the planet that they would want to, have to quote unquote prove that other beings live with us, alongside of us, and for what I can't understand is why. Why we have this deep desire. For me, as a female, I have no desire to do that, to prove to anybody that they exist. I base my thinking on faith. I mean, I've never seen Jesus in flesh, but I believe in him.
Right. No, it's a good point, and I'm sure Norma would agree too, Norma, because I'm sure you've talked to witnesses that could care less what science thinks or what anyone else thinks, because once they've had a sighting and they've seen it, as far as they're concerned, they don't care what you think.
No, a lot of the witnesses, that's true. They don't care, and who do we have to prove it to? Really,
that's
we don't.
That's what I'd love. I'd like the community to get that through their heads, because with the feeling of proving and having concrete evidence, are we going to massacre children? I mean, think of these babies. I mean, when we talk about Smeha and all of this and this idiot Dyer, and to proclaim that they've killed these people, to me, is murder.
Yeah.
And if we need to be on the forefront with this, because murder is murder.
Right. Yeah, and again, we don't know what we're dealing with. I mean, we can't sit here and say that, okay, well, it's just an ape, or it's a human, or or whatever. We don't know that. But regardless of the fact, these creatures, these beings, whatever you want to call them, are they hurting anybody?
Right. I mean, if they have, probably it's because of for self-defense.
Right.
And they don't have what we have, the arsenals that people carry around with them, and they're protecting themselves.
Right.
As did the natives when the Europeans came here first.
Right.
So as do wild animals who want to continue living. We all live on this planet and should be abiding by one another, since we are, quote unquote, the superior beings. That's all.
Okay. Well,
I'm getting on my soapbox, but
okay. Well,
I just wanted to say that instead of not instead of, but it was, it's just that we need to go beyond. I feel that we should go beyond the fact that we need to tangibly see them and put our finger in their, like the doubting Thomas did.
Right.
And to really work towards protection, or like you said, Norma, right? Is that your name?
Yep.
To be out there and just advocating and just not want to hurt
right.
people that haven't done anything to us.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you cutting that. Do you want me to put you on hold so that you can continue listening to the show?
Would you please? Okay, thank you, Billy.
Thanks for calling in.
Okay, good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of witnesses say that same thing to me, Norma. Like they're like, well, I don't care if you find out it exists or not. As far as I'm concerned, I know what I saw, and nothing you can say is going to change my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen them, and I believe they're out there. I wrote a post on my Facebook about I was watching something, and the ship was in the ocean, and the ship just looked like a little dot, and it just kind of got me thinking about how big and vast things are.
Yep.
And how these things are. We put them. Referencing Bigfoot, we put them in a box where we logically think that they can do and what they can't do.
Right.
And they're pretty good at. I mean, they have to survive out there. They're not like they're not like us. We have a home. We have clothing and grocery stores and things like that. They're good at what they do.
Oh,
and if they want to stay away from you and they want to hide themselves or whatever, they're pretty good at it.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. Looks like we have another caller. I believe this is a Skype caller. You're on the air.
Good evening, Billy.
Hey, this sounds like Bruce.
The Creature Seeker.
There you go. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Very good. Meet Norma, my guest.
Hello, Norma.
Hey there.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and sort of respond to Mary's question about why people want to prove, the existence, or why they feel the need to prove it. I think, after talking to many people who claim to have seen Bigfoot or had some sort of experience, I think that people are in it for different reasons. For some people, they just need to know that they're not crazy. For other people, they want to prove, when they talk about their experiences, they get made fun of, and, for them, it's proving other people wrong. And I know for me, it's not, I can't say I'm a believer, but for me, it's just following up with sighting reports and letting the evidence lead me to a conclusion. So I don't go into it thinking, there is or there isn't a Bigfoot. Now, that said, I have to admit there's a lot of evidence out there that is consistent with the existence of the hairy hominoid, and so for me, it's just following up. And what would be great in my mind is that we could develop some legislation that if these creatures do exist, that they could be protected. So, my sentiments are with people who don't want to see harm come to these creatures, but there's no way we can really push for legislation unless we can prove that they exist. And to prove they exist, we have to follow, scientific procedures, because that's how the rest of the world does it. So, you can't just say, I believe they exist, and then other people, come on board with you. So you have to actually have some compelling evidence that these creatures exist.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, if you did want to pass some type of legislation, obviously you would have to have proof to pass. I understand exactly what you're saying with that. So, yeah. So on that standpoint, yeah, you would have to have some kind of proof to push some type of legislation. Of course, we have the state of Washington and New York that have passed things, even though, but, probably the rest of the nation thinks that those two states are nuts. So
that's okay.
So, but yeah, thanks for calling in, Bruce. Do you want to stay on? Do you want me to put you on hold, or what would you want to do?
Yeah, I'll stay on, Billy.
Okay. All right. You want me to put you on hold, or do you want to stay on live?
It's up to you.
All right. I'll leave you on live for right now. Norma, now you said, I mean, do you have those audio recordings handy that you could kind of give us a little bit give us a little background and then play them for us?
Sure. I'm going to play one where there's a rock thrown at us.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. It's about, I would say about 2 in the morning. I'm with about my husband and 2 other people. And as you listen to this, the funny part of this is we are more concerned about finding what was thrown as opposed to what threw it. So you'll hear, kind of what happens, while we're out there discussing this.
Okay.
But you can hear the object coming through the woods at us, and I am really surprised that we didn't get hit by it because
Wow.
It went right between us.
Wow.
And like I said, we were looking for it, but you know how that goes. And the pitch black and and moonless night. So let me play that for you.
Okay.
Whoa. What?
Acorns. Yeah, it had to be.
That's not an acorn tree. Is that thrown?
It landed right here.
Yeah, these trees are tall.
It was over here.
And there were some big acorns. Jeremy picked one up yesterday. It was huge.
Yeah, it was whistling. I was looking at that.
That's not it. Back was not.
What do you think? It sounded like it landed right so yeah, it did.
Huh?
It is. Yeah, throw it up in the air and see what happens.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that was loud. It had no weight to it.
That was a lot louder. Did you hear the rock coming through?
Oh yeah, I heard it right at the very beginning. I heard it coming through the limbs and then.
Yeah. It's as you listen to us, debating on where this thing is and where it's gone and all of that kind of thing. We're not even thinking about like I said, what threw it. Right. And it wasn't that far from us. So it was kind of pretty interesting.
Now, what kind of recorder are you using? Because it was actually pretty clear.
Yeah, it's a handy recorder, H2.
Okay. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's really great. I mean,
yeah.
I love this thing. It can hear quite a distance.
Yeah, they're good pieces of equipment, that's for sure.
And I also that was the one thing, and it wasn't until I let someone listen to it recently that I actually sat there and thought, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, we just had a rock thrown at us, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Right.
And I didn't think about that when I was out in the field, because so many things happen,
right.
and I hear so many things, and I've recorded so many things that I don't know why it didn't even dawn on me or faze me or anything like that. I was just like, and it wasn't until after months later that I'm like, holy cow, that was pretty cool.
Right.
So
Norma, what part of did you say that was recorded in Massachusetts?
Massachusetts, yeah.
What part, like Dorchester?
No, we're in Western Mass.
Oh, okay. Because if you'd recorded it in Dorchester, most likely it was someone trying to steal your car.
Oh, no, there was no one out here trying to steal our car. We didn't have a car where we were. We were kind of out there, so yeah, no, there was nothing like that happening, for sure.
Well, that's good.
That I can tell you for sure. And I always tell everybody, no matter what I have, vocals, I have tree breaks and things like that going on. I never ever say that was absolutely a Bigfoot.
Right.
Because I can't tell anyone with a clear conscience that was absolutely Bigfoot, because I didn't see it happen. I mean, I didn't see what threw it.
Right.
I didn't see what made the vocal. I didn't see what broke the tree. These are things that, you can say that you're pretty, maybe 95% sure.
Yeah.
But you're not 100% sure, and you can never be 100% sure unless you actually see it with your own eyes.
Well, one thing's for sure, whatever throws it, and it throws and it's coming horizontal.
Yeah.
It was either a human or that.
Right, and I that's what I say. I don't think it was a raccoon that threw that rock at us, but stranger things have happened, I guess.
Yeah.
This is
Norma. You claim you don't seem to have a Massachusetts accent.
That's an Eastern Massachusetts accent. Yeah, I'm Western Massachusetts. It's funny how that works. You go Western, Middle, and Eastern, and you have different, as you go toward the east, you have more of a Boston accent. So yeah, I'm more of a hills girl. All
right. Well, how far west are you? Because some people might call that New York.
We are very close to New York. We're not quite there, but we're very close. We're at the western end of Massachusetts, so we're where Pittsfield is.
Sure.
We're not far from Pittsfield, yeah. So yeah, we're way up in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So you have another. You said you had another recording, right?
Yeah, that recording was the rock throw was in October, November-ish.
Okay.
This one, this was another. Let's see, I think it was around a year ago, February. This is all in the same location that I research.
Okay.
All of this stuff is coming out of that location, and I think they know. My feeling is when a researcher goes out, just like a habitation thing or habituation, the people who have them in the back of their yard, they know who these people are.
Right.
And when I went out, when I first started researching this area, I would go out with my husband and one other person or a couple other people, and I would be the only one making the calls, doing the yells. And for the longest time, and I don't know if it was they were, and most of the time I'm with guys, so it's not, I'm the only woman out there, so most of the time it's with guys, and I don't know if it's a, I'm embarrassed to do this kind of a thing, but none of the guys would do it for the longest time. And I said, and I went out there one time and I had laryngitis, and I said, look, somebody's going to have to do this because I can't. So somebody's going to have to step up and do this. But I really feel like they know my voice out there. And maybe it sounds crazy, but I've had a couple calls come back that sound like the calls that I put out. And it's really mind-boggling, but I really believe that they know, who I am, probably by sight too. They probably see me more than, who knows? I don't know. But I think that they, they know the voice. And so this was, I believe, last January or February. This one's pretty cool too. And and I'll try to turn it up so you guys can hear it.
Okay.
Did you hear those okay?
Oh, yeah, I heard it just fine.
That was pretty spooky.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was again, this is it's a pretty good sized place, but and they're in different locations always. Some of the time we get one area where we set up and we either get things or we don't. Some nights are just so dead silent it's ridiculous, and you spend hours there and you get absolutely nothing, which is they're off somewhere else. I don't know, but this particular one, we're in a different location than from the rock throw, and you could clearly hear that, and as you hear it, the last one it kind of goes down in tone and not in volume but in tone. So that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool. The thing that prompted me to get the H2 and was we were out one night and we got these howls that were they were so close, and it was almost like a mournful howl, and like I said, they were so close. And I had my iPod in my pocket when the first vocal went off, and I thought about it for a brief 3 seconds of getting it out of my pocket, but I didn't want to miss the moment.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to do this. I just can't move. I don't want to miss this,
Right.
And it happened there were 3 vocals, and then about 15 seconds later there was one last one, but I said I have got to get something, so I am having this on all the time. And Long Island Yachty had mentioned on the chat recorder, you always, it's like the people that come out with me, especially my husband. My husband's, famous last words are, "What the heck was that?" And I'm always having to tell him, "Shh." I'm just like having to be the heavy out there, we're recording, And so now when I go out, I try, and it's hard. It's hard for people. Like I said, with the rock throw, I'm like, what the heck was that? But when we're out there, and when you're out there with, several different people, it's hard to, your reaction is always like that. What was that?
Norma,
hard to keep them quiet.
Hey, real quick, because he's going to run out of minutes. Let me get Bill Green from Connecticut on here. Hey, Bill.
How you doing, Billy and everyone?
Good.
Hi.
Hey, Bill.
Good. I guess there's going to be a 2-hour Finding Bigfoot on this coming Sunday. They're going to be in Indonesia.
Yep, that's what I heard.
So, anything new happening in Virginia?
No, the only newest thing that we've had in Virginia is a recent sighting in Frederick County, which is up in Winchester, Virginia. That's still an ongoing investigation. We've got to get some folks out there to have a look. But a hunter saw one dragging a deer by the neck. So we've got we're working on that one currently.
Okay. To the guest, are you working on any new sightings or footprints or possible film footages of Bigfoot in your state?
I haven't found anything new yet. There was some questionable. There was a questionable trackway in the snow not long ago, but I just could not, definitively prove or see that those were, Squatch prints. So that kind of killed that. But the distance between the steps was pretty good. It was 2 of my stretches to get from one step to the other.
Oh, wow.
So, but I couldn't see toes and things like that, and I couldn't see boot prints, and I couldn't really say that was what it was. So, like I said, didn't do anything really about that, except for file it in my memory. We were out not long. Let's see, was it last week? We went out to that area, and I took a few newbies with us, and we did hear some things out there. One of them was a howl that came back again. They were up. They decided to go for a walk up the mountain. We stayed at base camp, and
I gotta go, guys.
Okay, thanks.
Nice
Phil.
talking to you.
All right, I'll still listen to the show though.
All right,
thanks.
We stayed at base camp, 3 of us, and then the 2 guys went up the hill, and we radio back and forth to let each other know that we're either going to knock or yell or something like that. And so at one point, we had done that. They had been up there for a few minutes, more than a few minutes, and they did a yell. We could hear it, let them know that, waited for a little while, and then I did a yell back, and then we waited again, and then we heard a yell come back, or and my husband's like, "Did you guys hear that? Was that them?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I'll call, see if that was them." And they said, "No." I said, "Was that you guys? Did you guys yell, let out a yell?" And they're like, "No, wasn't that you?" Because it sounded similar to my yell that I had just done. And they said, "Wasn't that you?" And I was like, "No, that wasn't us." And they were like, "Well, we're out of here." So they ran all the way down the mountain to where we were set up. The road, or the road that they were on, or that they went up on, was just icy, and I don't know how they came down without falling, to tell you the truth. But they were at a pretty good pace, and once they got closer, we could see their flashlights bobbing up and down through the woods, and so it was kind of funny. But that's the most recent one. But we've had them all throughout the year. So and it's not seasonal. It's not a seasonal based thing that's going on out there. It's not, they're more apt in the summer, they're more apt in the fall. It's not like that. It's all year long I'm getting things out there, so, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Now, before we run out of time, I want to hear the other audio recording you've got, because we're already getting down to like 5 minutes of the show left.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. Oh, I have one that is a series of these screams, and I know that there are coyote mixed in, but there is something else mixed in with it. And you know, I'm a singer, so I can hear different octaves and things like that. So I can, you know, once again, am I 100% sure? No. But you can hear different tones and different octaves in there that aren't coyotes. So I will play that one.
Okay.
And that was pretty cool too. Okay, did you hear all that?
Yeah, I heard all that. I mean, whatever the sound is in among there could be what stirred up the coyotes too.
Yeah, I mean it could. It almost sounded like they were, you know, either instigating each other or celebrating a kill. I don't know, you know. But it was crazy. You know, all these vocalizations just kind of all at once and all mixed in together. It was pretty cool. Yeah. It's always cool when you're out there. You know, you hear all kinds of things. I've had major tree breaks not far from where I was standing, and I mean, it sounded like he just, you know, whatever it was, just pulled down a huge branch, and whatever was under it came down with it. You know, it was so loud, and it couldn't. I mean, it was probably maybe 30, 40 yards from where I was standing.
Wow.
It was really, really loud, and I saw eye shine before it happened. So that was, and again, I was like, all right, well, it was one eye on one side of the tree, and then I scanned back, and it was, you know, one eye on the other side of the tree, and I was like, did I just see that? Because it, you know, kind of ducked behind the tree, so when I scanned back, it wasn't there. You know, when I scanned back, there was one on the other side. So it was probably 5 yards behind where that eye shine was where the tree break happened. And you know, that was pretty intense.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for sharing those. Those were interesting to hear. And certainly, you know, we've only got about a minute and a half left of the show, but certainly keep up the great work out there. And, you know, it's nice to have researchers like yourself out there that's, you know, not calling everything Bigfoot. You know?
No, yeah, I don't do that.
So,
you know, call it what it is. You know, that's all. That's the best thing. Call it what it is. You know, if you don't know what it is, then you don't know what it is.
That's right. Well, thank you, Norma, so much for being on the show.
You're so welcome.
We're hoping that you'll come back when if we invite you to come back in here and tell us some new. I'm sure you're going to continue going on outings, and I'm sure we're going to hear about them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
All right. Thanks, Norma.
All right.
Thanks,
good night,
Norma.
all. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And thanks for calling in, Bruce.
No problem, Billy.
Everyone, just wanted to let you know, if you haven't done it yet, please go to Facebook, type in Creature Weekend, and like the Creature Weekend page so that you can keep up with all the updates that are coming out about the conference. We've got some updates and schedules up there, so you'll want to take a look at that. All right, Bruce, anything you got to add before I turn this show off?
No, I was just about to say before that it's kind of ironic that Mike Killen is the one saying that people aren't being quiet enough on these recordings, because if you've ever been out in the woods with Killen, he's Mr. Chatty Cathy out there.
I know Mike. I know Mike pretty well. And he made a comment about putting a sock in my husband's mouth, and and putting the duct tape over, and trust me, it's I'm thinking about it.
and then he's pulling the wind chimes out of his backpack. I mean, the guy just,
I know Mike. I've known Mike for a long time, and whatever. It's hard, and I'm always the heavy and the bad guy, and you always hear me saying that. But whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I know it ruins the vocals. It really does. He like you said, it steps on the the recording, and it really does. But you can only do what you can do as far as keeping people quiet out there. It's really tough.
All right. Well, y'all, thanks for calling in. It's great having you, Norma, and thanks for calling in, Bruce. We're off the live feed, so everything's being recorded, but we'll go ahead and close out the show, and thanks you all for calling in.
All right. See you later.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, all. Bye.
Good night. You're listening to Sasquatch Watch Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Remember to join us again next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate every one of our listeners. Thank you so much for being here.
Try Cora's cult favorite tampons today, without joining a cult. Cora's #1 selling 100% organic cotton tampons are made without pesticides, chlorine, or rayon. Whether it's a definitely flowing Super Plus day or a barely there light day, you can rest or rally easy knowing Cora's got you covered. Plus, with every purchase, Cora donates period products to people in need. Find Cora nationwide at Target, CVS, and online at cora.life.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.